You're listening to the Outstanding Life Podcast with your host, Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. As a motivational speaker, Johnny D impacts audiences around the world with his message of living the outstanding life. He's a best-selling author, MC, and two-time Grammy-considered artist. This podcast is a place where Johnny D can introduce you to his outstanding friends and share funny, interesting, and heart-provoking stories. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. Here comes your host, Johnny D.
Hey everybody, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Outstanding Life Podcast. Some of you know that I am in Alaska right now. I'm in Bethel, Alaska, staying at this incredible place called the White House right here in Bethel. And it's an Airbnb, bed and breakfast, as you would say. And one of my roommates is Patrick. Patrick, how are you?
I'm good.
Patrick, we were having such a great conversation. I said, let me go grab my recorder. I go, this is too good. You're from where?
Grew up in Iowa and moved to Wyoming for a few years and then moved up here to hunt and fish about 5 years ago.
So you came up to Alaska to hunt and fish. And what do you do for work up here?
Well, I actually work from home. I've got real estate investments in Iowa and Wyoming and manage everything from home and figured why not? If I can manage it from Wyoming, why not move to Alaska, manage it from there?
That is the ultimate dream, huh?
It is. It was for me.
I mean, because
anyway.
you look like a young guy.
45 last week, so.
Awesome. So you're semi-retired at 45 and hunting, doing what you love. You're a professional hunter, huh?
I guess you could say that. I don't do it for money, but I do
Right.
it a lot. I do it a lot.
Well, some of the things that you have shown me already, one was a bear. Mm-hmm. And this bear, you're a big guy. And this bear was twice your size, like tall.
Yeah, it was a 10-foot bear. Yep. Yeah.
So a 10-foot bear. Let me ask you this. That means standing on its hind legs, right?
Well, that's actually squared. So
okay.
If you measure from tip to tip, nose to tail, and then add it together and divide it by 2, that's how they square bear. Yeah.
That is so cool. And then you are hunting what this weekend?
We just got off of a muskox hunt.
Okay, explain what that is.
So it's kind of a prehistoric, super long-haired, bovine type looking animal that's in the Arctic, built to survive the super Arctic cold weather. And it's spring. You wouldn't think it's that cold, but out there where they are, it's a full-on blizzard and can be sub-zero temperatures.
Patrick, when I think of Alaska, I am living it right now. I'm in Bethel, Alaska. But it seems like where you go is even more in the woods than here. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, you can really get off the beaten path here. We were definitely, Makoriak is where we were at, and definitely off the beaten path. Time ticks a little slower out there.
So was it your ultimate dream to move to Alaska?
It has been. Yeah, I think I had a little vision board when I was in school. And
when you say in school, do you mean grade school, middle school, high school?
Middle school, yeah. And there, you cut out a bunch of pictures from the magazine, and of course I was cutting out people fishing and caribou and things in Alaska, and so it's been on my vision board here since my dad went come up here in the 80s.
Yeah. So you your dad passed away 12 years ago today, you said.
12 years ago today, yeah.
So your dad was kind of like your mentor.
Big time, yeah.
I didn't think about this when I first said, let me go grab my recorder. But let me ask you this. For the kids out there that are listening and the parents that are listening right now, how important is those vision boards? Because I love them. I use them all the time.
It's important, having a good connection with your kids and, taking them along and showing them stuff. You don't realize how influential a kid is. And I'm just realizing it more and more every day, how influential my dad was to me. Just in what you're interested in, how you treat people, just your core beliefs.
When you decided to move up here to Alaska, what was the first thing you wanted to hunt?
Brown bear.
Okay.
Yeah, brown bear has been on my list. I lived with them in Wyoming and couldn't hunt them there, so it was kind of like the forbidden fruit of Wyoming, and so that was high on my list, but really, I'm a sheep hunter at heart. That's really what to be able to sheep hunt every year was probably actually taking precedence of the bear.
Do you hunt with a gun or do you hunt with a bow? What do you prefer?
Oh, I'm kind of a fair weather bow hunter. So in Wyoming with elk, I really like to use the bow just because of the time of year and the way you hunt them. This is actually the first time I've picked up a bow in Alaska. Obviously a lot more challenging, but I love bow hunting. But till I got my feet wet here, I've been carrying a rifle.
When you're out in the bush, explain to the people listening right now, what is it like to live? I mean, because I think, me traveling so much, just me staying at a Holiday Inn Express is really roughing it when you're not in a Hilton or something. But for you, it is completely different.
Yeah, as far as being in the bush, way more extreme than just this muskox hunt is some of the sheep hunts that I've done solo. So I've done from 13 to 18 days solo out in the bush. Last year was up in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge up in the Brooks Range with just 45 pounds of gear and food for the whole time, and living out there with just you and your tent.
Patrick, what's that like?
It's
to be a man by himself in the wilderness by himself hunting. I can't even imagine. I can't wrap my head around what it's like to be by yourself for that long.
Well, it's a combination of being nerve-wracking and stepping out of the tent to go to the bathroom at 2 a.m. and seeing the whole sky lit up with northern lights. Exhilarating.
That part's beautiful.
Yeah.
But does it ever get scary? And does that teach you life lessons while you're doing these things?
Yeah, I mean it sure can be. You're definitely on high alert the whole time because you're completely relied on yourself. It's exhilarating. I'm kind of an adventure junkie, if you couldn't tell. So it's different.
Have you ever been scared?
Well, sure, yeah.
I mean, you've been doing this for a while now.
Anybody that's got 2 brain cells ought to be scared.
Can you share with us an experience you had that you were like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make it out of here?
Well, one of those solo sheep hunts, I was landed on a glacier that had large cracks. They call them crevasses. Some of them were covered with snow, so you had to make sure you knew where you were stepping. And I had a loaded backpack, and I was jumping these crevasses trying to navigate this glacier. And some of them were jumping down as you jumped over the crack, and I started to realize that I couldn't go back. And so I was definitely scared. On the glaciers should scare you.
How do you get in and out of these villages? I mean, because
airplanes.
You can't just drive.
Yeah, airplanes. That's
okay.
Really...
So they fly you in, drop you off, and say, "Hey, we'll see you in 3-4 days, a month." I mean, what is that like?
Yeah.
For the people listening around the world that don't understand what it's like to live this way, explain to us.
Well, you just got to be really self-sufficient. You just got to make sure you have your gear dialed in. Your food dialed in, that you're going to have the proper nutrition to have the energy to get out of there. You can't be overweight because you're extremely limited on weight. So that means, you can't just bring your Carhartt coveralls and your cast iron coffee cup. You really got to have your weight and your equipment dialed down and your skills in the woods.
How do you find a pilot to take you into these places? I mean, you don't just Google them, do you?
Well, that's challenging. No, that's challenging in itself. There's probably, 10 hunters wanting to go out hunting for every, one seat in the plane, or pilot to take you out. So just finding a pilot to get you out there is difficult. It's word of mouth and networking and treating people right and finding a good pilot.
So when you get your prize trophy, mm-hmm. you go, you set your mind to this and you do this and you get it. Most people say, do you eat it? Do you stuff it? Like what do you do with these?
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people hunt for food here. That's a legit deal. People do hunt for food. I'm not gonna blow smoke and say that I'm doing this to feed myself. But I do eat almost everything that I shoot that's edible. Mm-hmm. I usually end up with way more, so I donate it, give it to friends. Anybody that I know usually gets something of my bounty. But the meat up here is actually fantastic eating. I grew up in Iowa eating deer, and that's okay.
Being from Michigan, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, elk in Wyoming's good. But caribou, muskox, big or Dall sheep, those are all absolutely fantastic eating. Moose is good as well, but the caribou, the sheep, and the muskox are my favorite.
So do you only hunt here in Alaska, or do you go to around the world to hunt?
I hunt internationally.
You do?
Yeah.
Where's one place, if I said, hey, here's a blank check, I'm going to send you anywhere you want next week, where would you go? What would you hunt?
It'd either be Mongolia for argali or probably Alberta for bighorn sheep.
Do you ever do you have a YouTube channel or anything like that?
I do.
Oh, you do?
Patrick's Path. Yeah, Patrick's
Say
Path.
that again, just so everybody can find it.
Patrick's Path on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I can't wait to go see this. That's exciting.
Yeah.
This is and like this whole thing, like staying at an Airbnb with 3 other guys. I mean, this is just kind of cool. The stories. Like last night, I was listening, or this morning, you were talking to Fran, the owner of the place, and you were talking about all these cool things, and I was like, oh my god, this guy is so interesting. How do I go downstairs and talk to him about this?
Right.
And I appreciate you letting me grab my recorder and just have this conversation with you, because you don't come to Alaska to not hear stories like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let me ask you this. What's the biggest weight thing you've ever killed?
Oh.
Because everything you're telling me weighs a lot.
Yeah, I would have to say that the moose, probably Alaskan moose, is probably the biggest. Cape buffalo I shot a Cape buffalo with a bow in Africa. That was a big animal. But the moose is probably the biggest, I would have to say.
So you talk about weight, especially with planes. When you get your trophy animal, you got to chop it up and do all these things, right? Mm-hmm. How do you get it back? I mean, you are hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
It's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult.
And how are you not prey at that point, right? Because now you just killed something.
Yep.
You got blood everywhere.
Right.
You're taking all the guts out of it. You're showing every other animal in the area that, hey, we got some fresh meat, including you, Patrick. Does that ever get nerve-wracking when you are, what do you call that? I'm not a big hunter, so when you're taking all the guts out and stuff like that?
Yeah, you're butchering it, you're breaking it down.
Yeah, okay.
To get the edible meat out of there. And in Alaska, they're very, very very, very strict on want and waste. So you have to literally take every little edible piece of meat. I mean, it really needs to look like a raven got a hold of it by the time you're done with it.
Wow.
So there's I'm just going to take this and take that, and it's a long ways back to the truck, so I'm just going to only take this. You don't get away with that here in Alaska.
Well, how do you fly it back?
So you break it down. Some areas it's better off if you leave the bone in, just because it won't spoil. But yeah, you got to pack it. You got to pack it to where you can get to it with an airplane.
And you got to truck it back to where they picked you or dropped you off, correct? Do you have a drop off place and then a pickup place as well?
Yeah, so it starts. I mean, every hunt's a little different, right? I mean, if you're doing a float hunt, that's a little different. Sometimes you have access to maybe an ATV or something out in the bush, but not very often. Most of the time, like on a sheep hunt, you break it down on the mountain, way up on a cliff, and then you put it in your backpack and you hike it all the way back to where you started from, and that's an airstrip or a gravel bar. So
what happens when you need to contact somebody? I mean, do you have a certain kind of phone or a GPS where somebody's constantly tracking you?
Back in the day, it was just, they just dropped you off and say, we'll pick you up here in a week or 10 days. But now with modern technology, we're all connected to the Iridium network of satellites, and you can either text or call. Most people use what's called an inReach, and they can text the pilot and stay in communication. So it's actually... Yep, you're actually pretty connected for no matter where you're at.
What do you say to the people out there that want to go hunting, but they find every excuse not to go because of working their butt off, working those double and triple shifts at times to pay to go, but they never end up going? What do you say to that person? Do you say, hey, listen, just go? Well,
life's not a rehearsal. You got to live it every day. A lot of people I see wait till they're retired and then they're going to go do all this stuff. I see a lot of guys in guided camps that are, they're 62 and a half or 65, and they're just trying to get caught up on doing all the things they've wanted to do their entire life. And I do not believe in that mentality. Nothing says you're going to live to retirement. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow.
Yep.
You know, so you gotta there's moderation, right? You mean you gotta take care of yourself and have a retirement, but you got to live life every day because it's, you know, tomorrow's just not guaranteed. So you just got to get out there and live it.
What advice could you give somebody listening right now? Just about life. I mean, because you're a 45-year-old man. You literally, at last 5 years, have been traveling all over the world, hunting. What do you say to the person out there that wants to be you?
You gotta get some money working for you. You gotta make money while you sleep. If you don't make money while you sleep, you're gonna be forever chasing a paycheck. So you gotta learn how to invest. Just don't hand it over to somebody else. I like real estate. It's done really well for me, but it's also taken me a while to figure it out. But you just gotta jump in, make mistakes, and learn how to invest your money, whatever that might be, stocks, you name it. You got to learn how to take charge yourself and make money while you sleep, or you'll be forever beholden to a paycheck.
Patrick, one last thing, and I'm going to wrap this up with you because I know you got to go. I got to go to the school and speak here. But you said this is your 12th year anniversary of your dad's passing. Mm-hmm. What's one of the memorable moments of you hanging out with Dad? Maybe hunting with your dad. Maybe it's not hunting with your dad.
Yeah, there's so many. Back in 2008, it was his dream to go to Africa with me, and so I saved up and be able to go with him in 2008 to Africa, and we went on safari together. Took me forever to get the money to go. Of course, he was set up, and he wasn't going to pay for me.
I was just going to say, Dad didn't pay for you?
No, Dad didn't pay for me, so I had to pay my own way. And we had a heck of a good time, and he got so much enjoyment out of that. So that's definitely the moment that sticks in my mind is being able to go to Africa with my dad.
Yeah, that's so cool.
For him, and not only for me, but for him.
Yeah. So. And how can people find your YouTube channel again?
Just Patrick's Path on YouTube. I don't post on there all the time, but I've got some archived videos on there, and yeah.
And what about social media? Do you want to tell people your social media as well?
Yeah, you can find me Patrick Hagens on Instagram. That's probably the best place to follow me on Instagram. I'm way more active on Instagram.
Well, I know I got to wrap things up here. We're just finishing our cup of coffee. But man, dude, thank you so much for being on the Outstanding Life podcast. Any last comments? Anything you want to say?
No. I mean, I don't think of my life being that exciting. But
are you kidding me? Come on, man. Most people dream about this stuff. I remember Kenny Chesney telling a story. And it was about a fisherman, and this wealthy man, would go into like Florida a couple times a year, and he'd see the same guy fishing every day. And he told his wife one day, he says, "Babe, one of these days I'm gonna have enough money to be that guy. I'm gonna fish every single day." And one day he finally had the guts to go over and talk to the guy. He's like, "Hey man, what do you do for a living? One of these days I want to be you. I want to be you, man. What do you do?" And the guy says, "Nothing, I'm broke. I just love to fish, and that's all I do every day." And it really put things into perspective for me. It's like, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today.
Right.
Unfortunately, with what you do, though, traveling all over the world, you need a little bit of cash.
Yeah, you do. But I mean, like that guy, he's pretty wealthy. He gets to fish every day. I mean,
he's wealthy on the inside.
Right.
He might not have the
life experiences.
100%.
Yep. So.
Well, hey, man, thank you so much for coming on the Outstanding Life podcast. I appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate it.
Breathe in the cold morning chill before the sun rises. I'm out in the field, ease into the woods, into the moment and be still. Calm my heart and watch that trail. And I'm looking back over all these years, how many times I've hunted, sitting right here with my first bow, a rifle in my hands. And when I caught fever at the snap of a branch, for just one chance to have that decided in on a little doubt and thank the Lord for another day He provides for me. It's why I get up in the morning, lace my boots and kiss my wife, go and make a few more memories up on that mountaintop, to do what Daddy taught me to and what his daddy told him. Putting food on the table, son, is the best a man can give till the day is done. That's why I hunt. That's why I hunt. That's why I hunt for the best spot, put a stand up on that ridge. Why I hunt for the best job, build her a house and raise our kids. Why I hunt to answer the fire burning inside my soul. Work hard, give my best to God. That's why I hunt. That's why I hunt.
So, you need a dynamic, interesting, audience attention-grabbing speaker for your conference. You need Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. Your event attendees will get the life-changing solutions and contagious energy they need to live their best lives. Whoever your audience is, from children at school assemblies to seasoned professionals at corporate gigs, Johnny D delivers. Book Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy today at motivationalcowboy.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Outstanding Life Podcast. I am in Bethel, Alaska, and I am sitting here right now with Nicole and Marty Smith. Guys, what is going on?
Just having an outstanding Saturday. Snowing and blowing just like it does in the spring in Bethel.
Marty, I can't thank you enough for bringing me to Alaska. This has been absolutely a treat. For those of you that don't know, I met Marty at a NASCAR event about 4 or 5 years ago in Phoenix, Arizona, and I told him that one of the places I haven't been was Alaska, and he's like, well, let's make this happen before I retire. You made it happen, and I think you have 25 days until you retire. Is that right?
That is right. About 25 to 30 days, and I'm done. I'm glad we squeezed it in.
So, guys, I mean, you're in Bethel, Alaska. Where are you guys from?
I'm originally from Superior, Montana, and
I'm originally from the Flathead Valley in Montana. Big Fork, Housebell, Glacier National Park.
Yes, that's beautiful.
It is.
So, guys, I mean, let's just start with this. How does a young couple, you fall in love, you get married, you're living in Montana, which is absolutely beautiful as well. Who out of the two of you said, hey, honey, let's move to Alaska?
I said that, and it was because I wanted to see something completely different.
Do you remember the day that she started throwing things at you?
I think the concussion made me forget it all.
Now, for those of you that don't know, they are both school teachers. That's the cool part. Marty, you teach science and I think health, correct?
Correct.
And you're the wrestling coach at Bethel Regional High School.
One of them, yes.
And Nicole, you teach kindergarten.
Yes.
Kindergarten, but you're also kind of like in science too, because you do something with Legos and stuff like that. I know that you guys are state champs.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about that.
I coach a 4th through 6th grade. Sometimes 7th and 8th graders get involved with me. First Lego League robotics team.
Okay.
And so every year there's a season, a seasonal topic. This year it was called Masterpiece, and it was all about using the arts and integrating art into hobbies and activities that people love to do. So my team has to research a problem. They have to find an innovative solution to it, present that to the judges, and alongside of that, they have to create a robot out of Legos and do the programming and coding for it. And it goes out on a 4-foot by 8-foot playing field that has missions on it, and they program the robot to lift and push and pull and accomplish as many missions as they can in 2.5 minutes.
Two things. I can't wait to talk to William Byron about this. NASCAR driver William Byron, because he absolutely loves Legos. Two, I know that nobody can see the smile on your face, but I'm going to tell everybody, you should see her talking about this. How did you get involved with Legos and the kids? I mean, you're a kindergarten teacher.
That's true, but when we were living in Tuxuk Bay, our older boys were involved in it. I was not involved at that time, but when we moved to Bethel, one of my older sons was like, "Mom, we don't have a coach this year." And I said, "Okay, I'll do it for you." I had no clue what I was doing. The kids, and the rule of Lego robotics is the kids do all the work anyways, but they pretty much told me everything I needed to know to be a coach.
Wow.
And I learned from them.
Okay, so let's get back to how you guys ended up here in Alaska, because when people think of Alaska, they just think of one place, and that's like the bigger places, like Anchorage and
mountains and
beautiful
and
stuff like
scenery.
That.
And
so you are a young man, just got married, you have one child, and you proceed to talk your wife into coming to Alaska. What was your thing for coming to Alaska? Was it the money? Was it the beauty? What was it?
So I remember a friend of mine telling me in high school about being in Alaska, and so that initially piqued my interest. Then we went off to college and everything, and I saw a piece of paper that advertised for teachers in Alaska, and man, that's where I want to go try it out. I want to see something new. I want to check out something different than Western culture, which is all I grew up in, right?
Yeah.
And so
now you did say the newspaper, not the internet, because they didn't have the internet back then.
they did, but it was very delayed.
Okay.
And it was just a piece of 8.5 by 11 printed out piece of paper stuck on a wall at the college.
I love it.
That was it. And so I started talking to Nikki, and I said, "Hey, let's think about that." And we applied for jobs in Montana that year, and neither one of us landed anything. And so that April, we went to the job fair. And
how old were you guys?
22.
23?
Wow, you were super young.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, fresh out of college,
Fresh
too.
out of college.
Yes.
And looking for adventure, looking for a way to pay off the student loans. And that was what it was going to be about. Just, there was complete intent to leave Alaska after a couple of years of paying off student loan and go back home.
So you wanted to come to Alaska, pay off all your debt,
Yep.
and then go back home.
Yep.
But it's been 25 years.
Been 25 years. Been the best 25 years I think we could ever pass for.
So guys, Nicole, you kind of said this a little bit ago, and that was, what people don't realize is Bethel is a hub to a bunch of littler villages.
56.
56 villages.
Yes.
In and around Bethel.
Yes.
So you didn't just come to Bethel to teach. They stuck you out in the fields.
Yeah.
Like literally
So-
the field. Or I guess it's not the
let me
field,
give
right?
you-
What would it be called? The tundra.
The tundra.
The
Let me
delta,
give you
yeah.
Or the delta.
The Delta, yeah. So let me give you an idea of what just our school district is like.
Okay.
Right? So LKSD, Lower Kuskokwim School District, has 26 sites, 27 now. Because we just picked up the ANSEP kids, which is Alaska Native Science and Engineering. Land-wise, it's the size of the state of Ohio. That's all 26 sites. 22 of them, I think, are village sites. And we were in one that is on the west coast of Alaska, on Nelson Island, Tuxuk Bay. Shout out to the Islanders. Once an Islander, always an Islander. We spent 11 years out there teaching before we moved to Bethel.
You guys were kind of telling me earlier, and I asked you, what was it like to live in the villages? Because I got a chance to talk to some of the kids, and what I found out was there's not much in the villages. What was it like to live there? I mean, you guys went from Montana, that you guys had everything, right? To you had a 1-bedroom shack. I think, Nicole, you said you lived in like a 500 or 600 square foot 1-bedroom apartment type thing.
Yes, it was a tiny house.
Yeah.
we had I had just had a baby, so I went up there at 3 when the baby was 3 weeks old, and we this is so funny. So when we moved to Alaska, we had 27 boxes with 2 kids and 2 adults, and that was all we had. And so baby's first bed was a box with blankets in it on the floor, and the other one was in a playpen, and that's all we had in our bedroom,
Yeah.
And so small.
What was it like for you guys to go into these villages knowing that you're an outsider?
Just about everywhere you go, you're first an outsider, right? You don't get a lot of respect because nobody expects that you're going to stick around. And so they're not going to put the time and the effort and the energy into you. But after a couple of years of taking it and sticking with it, you gain that respect. You gain that, I won't say family, but not far from families, true connections. You're more welcomed because people are expecting that you're going to come back, right? And they look forward to you coming back. They get to know you, you get to know them, and you make really good connections.
What's one thing that you guys had to get used to? I mean, it has to be something really good, right? I mean,
Powdered milk.
Oh, what? There, it sounds like there's a story between these two about powdered milk.
Yes.
I mean, milk is milk. You just go down to the store and you get it.
Except that they don't carry dairy products at the village stores.
That's important. So that's what I want you guys to let people know, because people in the lower 48s, you guys bring up milk, and we're like, well, what do you mean? You go down to the 7-Eleven, you pick up what you need, and you go back home. But it's not like that here.
No,
at all.
Not at all. So in the village, most village stores will not carry any kind of dairy product. You can find a box of radiated milk, which is shelf-stable milk, and it'll stay on the shelves for however many years it can sit there, whatever. In Bethel, you can go to the local AC store, Alaska Commercial Store. It's I would say it's more like a local family-owned kind of market rather than a big box store, Fred Meyer Smith's or something.
They got everything in there.
About everything.
Except for everything in there is at least 5 times the amount that it is back in Michigan.
Yeah.
So a case of water, $29.
Yep.
$29, almost $30 with tax and everything.
Yep.
I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Case of toilet paper, $40.
Gallon of milk, $13.50. Then tax, right? And so
18 eggs, $10.50.
Wow, guys, I have so much to ask you. One is, you said it earlier that Bethel is like an island, but it's not an island.
Right.
There's one way to get things here, and that's barge, snow machine, or a big truck when the ice road is here. Or airplane, a big cargo plane. I see a lot of new vehicles around here. I see a lot of new snow machines around here. Are you telling me that they get shipped in, and that's how, like, you have to go to Anchorage or Seattle or somewhere to get your vehicle and then have it shipped here?
Yep.
So that means you basically have to start paying for something 3 months before you get it, and then it lands here?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just assuming.
No. Yeah, that's right. So we have 3 Chevys sitting out there. One didn't come up here until we moved to Bethel. It's a 99 Silverado, full-size truck with the extended cab. And it's 19 feet and I think 6 inches. If it had been 20 feet, we'd have paid an extra $1,000 to get it here.
Something else that is pretty cool here that I understand, and I'm going to experience it tonight, and that is a real native steam bath. Can you explain to everybody, as well as myself, all you said was, hey, listen, usually they do this in their birthday suit, but hey, you bring your bathing suit because I just met you and I don't want to see you in your birthday suit yet.
Yes.
So yes, I did bring my bathing suit, but can you explain to me and to everybody else what a native steam bath is?
Oh, I tell you, I like doing steam baths better than I do actually showering. A steam bath is the best way to compare it to Western states would be like a sauna, but a super sauna. You have 2 different rooms, one where you go in and you hang all your your gear up, and then you go into the other side and you close the door, and you have a bucket of water on top of a stove with volcanic rock, and you pour water over these rocks like you would with a sauna. But the stove is not a little thing. It's a 5-dog stove. It's the largest camp stove that you can get.
Okay.
And so that 5-dog stove is like 12 by 12 by 16. So it's a fairly big firebox. And you pour water on there. The water steams off the rocks, makes you all sweaty, burns you a little bit if there's too much heat to it. And then
So,
you stay in
folks,
there.
if I don't come back to Michigan, you know exactly why. Hopefully that this gets back to you before I go into the steam bath.
We have a cooked John.
So in the native land, was this a religious thing? Was this, guys getting together and kind of instead of like back home in the 48s, you would go to the pub or something like that?
Yeah.
Is this where guys get together and have conversations?
Yep.
Do they go to the steam bath instead of to the bar?
Very typically. Husbands and wives will go out there, women and their children, they'll take the children out and they'll bathe. I've never bathed with my wife. I've never bathed with anybody else's wives out there, right? So
all of a sudden your wife looked at you like, what?
and so it's been myself and like 8 guys in this room that's the size of, what could you even compare it to?
Not even 12 by 12.
So it's like a shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A small shed.
A very small shed.
Yeah, something you'd put your lawnmower and rakes in.
Yeah.
Right? And
So that's cool. So, hey, I have to ask, you have 3 kids. 4 kids. Did you guys teach them throughout the years? Like, did you guys, right, you're in a village. Now you're in a big village. But did you have the opportunity, or not the opportunity, to teach your kids? And what was that like, if you did?
The first opportunity I had to teach my own children was when I was pregnant with my 3rd son. And I had all my babies back in Montana. They were all cesarean births, so they had, I had to go home, live with my dad for a month to have a baby. But we had a kindergartner and a first grader maybe. And they came with me on maternity leave, so I had to teach them for a couple of months on my own. And granted, I'm a teacher, but teaching your own kids is very hard.
Oh, but did you ever have them in the classroom?
I did have them in the classroom. I had my oldest son once as a 4th grader for half a year because I went from ELD position back into a 4th grade position.
Okay.
And so I did have him for half a year. It was actually okay. Now,
Marty, how about you? Have you had
I had
any of your 4 kids?
Yeah, just our second son, and all I taught him was math and social studies at the time because we were splitting. I was team teaching with another teacher. She took the reading and the science, and I took the social studies and the math.
But you do have a son right now that is a senior, junior, and he is at the high school you teach at.
Yes.
What's that like? Do you ever run into your kid at school?
Oh yeah, I run into him all the time.
What's that like?
I give him dirty looks.
Has your kids, your kids are so nice, so polite.
Well, thank you.
And I mean that. But the son that I've met several times now is the junior.
Yes.
And he is, just an amazing young man. He's in ROTC. He's, just everything you want in a young man. Have you ever had to discipline him at school?
I have. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. So before I was
I just said your kid was a good kid.
He is a good kid.
No,
I
I'm just
appreciate
teasing.
that. Before I was science teacher at the junior high, I was the dean of students at the elementary school, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade school. To his credit, he was trying to help his teachers out by disciplining his classmates when they weren't listening. That's not a student job.
Right.
And so he got sent down to my office, and I got told what he had done, and it was the second to last day of the school year for students, and so I had to suspend him for the last day of school. His punishment was he had to come home and stay with my mom, who was here for our oldest son's graduation that weekend.
And your mom probably spoiled them, so it really wasn't punishment.
I'm sure she did. And then the second time, he had a classmate that was not listening to the teacher, who was being obnoxious, doing whatever the kid was doing, and my son cuffed him on the back of the head, and teacher sent him down to me and told me what had happened. And I said, all right, well, I guess you got to go home.
Yeah.
And so I had to suspend him again the second time.
Oh my gosh. You're also one of the wrestling coaches, and the wrestling program here is pretty special. I mean, you look at up in the ceiling, you see all the banners. I mean, you guys take wrestling pretty serious.
Yeah.
When I can walk into your school at 6 o'clock at night because I have nothing else to do,
Right.
and I see a bunch of kindergarten to third graders, 50 of them running around the gym, getting ready to practice wrestling. And then after that, you have wrestling practice with your high school students. What is it like for you, and how did you get into coaching?
Yeah, so I actually got into coaching as a 9th grader in high school.
So were you a wrestler? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I was fortunate enough to wrestle at college, which helped pay for some of my college education. And I started coaching as a 9th grader, started refereeing right there at the same time with our little kids. They were separate seasons from the high school. And that carried over to us moving to Alaska. I stayed with wrestling as an official. And when we moved to Bethel, I transitioned from coaching Native Youth Olympics to coaching the freestyle wrestling program, helping with the elementary high school season in the fall time.
And that's boys and girls.
And that's boys
you have
and
a lot
girls.
of girls.
Yeah, we have a lot of girls that are coming out now, more and more. In fact, Alaska is one of the first states that adopted a women's division. And so, yeah, I've been coaching wrestling since I was just a young kid.
Yeah.
And
what is it like
it.
for you? Because
Yeah.
I know what it's like the last couple of days. I texted you yesterday.
Yep.
I said, hey man, you still at the gym? And you're like, I'll be here till 10.
Yep.
And I said, okay, I'm coming up because I had nothing else to do. I mean, there really isn't a whole lot going on here in Bethel. You know what I mean? It's completely different than the lower 48.
Much slower pace of life.
What is it like for you guys to have these kids come to you thanking you for being a role model in their lives? Because there is a lot of these students that come from broken families.
Yeah.
I mean, you two are two incredible husband and wife, two incredible teachers. What is it like for you when kids come to you and just say thank you, or maybe you find out later on?
It's just a joy. I mean, teaching is what I've always wanted to do, you know, so just being able to make a difference in, you know, a child's life it's a joy and a blessing.
Yeah, 100%. And Marty, I mean, I've sat into some of your classes the last couple of days too. You take on, I think, a different approach to teaching, and that is, I don't want to say they know who the boss is, and you're not their friend, but you encourage these kids.
Absolutely.
Were you always that guy, or did you have to learn to be that guy after 25 years of teaching?
I think of a little bit of both. You know, being a coach, you want your athletes to do the best they can, right? Being a teacher is no different. Being a parent is no different. You want your kids to do the best that they can. And when they're not doing the best that they can, you call them on it, and you let them know that whatever it is they're doing isn't acceptable, that they can do better. And 95% of the time, they're gonna step up their game. You know, there's times where, and I tell the kids who are struggling, everybody's entitled to have a bad day from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, life gets to us sometimes. It's the next steps that you take to follow up after that. Don't let anything defeat you. Don't let anything get you down. You know, battle through it. You could ask any one of my wrestlers. I got 4 words for them.
What's that?
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
And I kind of live by that, right? And there's things that are going to have an impact on your life. You can either give in to them and lose, or you can battle to overcome them.
Yeah.
And if you overcome them, there's nothing that's going to slow you down, stop you.
And that brings me to my next question, and that is, have either one of you lost one of your students because of suicide or something happening to them? Because, I mean, Alaska has the biggest suicide rate in all of our states. Mm-hmm. Have you guys lost anybody?
We've lost kids that we taught out in Tooksuk Bay. Yeah. And we've had them down in the summer with us in Montana. And so you have that, you know, a closer relationship with them. And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's the out that they chose, you know?
Yeah.
We've had kids that have not just died from suicide, but kids that right in our own subdivision here in Bethel that have been murdered.
Yeah.
2 of the kids that we lost were actually taking a steam bath. And we'll just say alcohol and steam baths and doing drugs don't mix.
Right.
Because you get inebriated, you pass out, and then you cook yourself to death.
Right.
Right. And so Alaska's suicide rate is horrendous. It's an indication of a lot of the kids that just can't wait to get out of things. They feel like they don't belong anywhere. They feel like their culture isn't the right culture, which is not the truth.
Right.
Right.
There is something special, I will say, and I've told you this a couple times already. Mm-hmm. When I walked through the first time on Wednesday, through the doors of Bethel Regional High School, that place is pretty magical. I've been into a lot of high schools. Nicole's smiling at me. But it really is. And I'm not just saying that because you guys are sitting here in front of me at your kitchen table. I literally, there is something special inside that building that's going on. I mean, obviously it starts with the teachers. It starts with your principal, yeah. Mrs. Miner. I mean, she just got, voted principal of the year. So if you're listening, congratulations again. But what is so magical about that high school? And listen, I'm not going to put you on the spot here. If you want, I can edit this out. But you've been here 25 years. Mm-hmm. You love what you do. Do you have a couple more years in you, or did you already sign on the dotted line saying, I'm out?
I did not sign on the dotted line, but I turned my resignation in.
Oh, you did?
I didn't turn I turned my contract back. In fact, I didn't even get a contract because I'd already turned the resignation in. That doesn't mean I'll leave the school entirely. My hope is that I can go in, get my next stage in my life started, come back home. I've already had conversation with some of the local folks, and I'd like to drive water and sewer truck for the city part-time and then help coach at least. That'll give me an opportunity to stay involved with the kids, and I because of my previous role as the dean, I've got a great rapport with all of those kids.
Right.
And so that's part of why
great.
They see me as a leader.
You
too.
have it all figured out in your half.
Yeah.
But Nicole.
Yes.
Are you going to still teach, or are you retiring too? I mean, because you guys look so young.
Well, thank you. Sometimes I don't feel that way anymore. No, I have 1 year left. I say at least 1 year left because I haven't, made the decision to retire. But we did say, we could have retired this year. This could have been our last year together. But with Sheldon only being a junior, I'm not going to make him move anywhere and, go to school as a senior somewhere else. So I will do 1 more year, not just for him, but also for me. But
yeah,
like I said earlier, it's all I've ever wanted to do. So to have to think about the next part of my life is kind of scary.
Yeah. So where do you guys want to move to? I mean, do you want to stay here in Bethel, or do you guys want to move somewhere? Do you want to move back home to Montana?
Yeah, we have a place in Montana, my hometown, and both of my parents live there in town. The majority of my family is there. My siblings, her siblings, are all within a 4-hour drive.
Okay.
Minus one on each side. And so it's really easy to just jump in a vehicle, go visit family, but also be there to help take care of my parents and whatnot.
Is Alaska looking for teachers? For anybody listening right now that wants an adventure?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Let me just say that Alaska, their teachers get paid very well. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, I also know the cost of living just here in Bethel. The house. I mean, so you make really great money, but you also spend it.
Yes.
In the housing market and to live. Obviously, we just talked about eggs being what, 12, 15?
10.50.
10.50, a dozen. So, but you guys, so anybody listening that you want an adventure, you want, you're in teaching, Alaska's hiring.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got 2 done here at the end of the year.
Yeah, and it's, you can go to job fairs, you can look us up on the internet. We're always hiring. Our school was, I want to say, maybe 4 teachers short this year of having a full complement of teachers.
Yeah, Mrs. Miner was actually teaching.
Yeah, she was teaching. Our assistant principal was teaching.
Yeah.
We've rotated aides through the classroom to help cover. We've got about 6, that might change. That number might be different now. We got 6 to 8 Filipino teachers that have come over that are here on J1 visas, and they're only here for a limited of 5 years, and then they have to go back home for
Was
at least
one of
2.
them the PA teacher? Or
Yes.
What was her name?
Adelaida.
She came up to me after my talk, and she's like, Mr. Johnny, like she, in her broken English says, Mr. Johnny D, I always tell the kids to have a great day, but after hearing you and seeing their reaction, I have to step up my game. Well, guys, I mean, with only a couple minutes left, is there anything that you want me to ask? I mean, the mic's yours.
Yeah, I would just like to say, if you wanted to come to Alaska for an adventure, the whole state's wide open.
Yeah.
Come up and do it. And if you're a teacher who wants to just check things out that aren't around your own home, you want to see something different, come check out Western Alaska. It's a very unique place all across the state. One village is not the same as the next. Our village, or our district of 26 sites, has 3 different primary religions that they focus on. And some of our communities will traditionally dance, Yupik dance. Others have absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You'll find kind of what you're looking for. It might take a little bit of moving here and there, but come check out it. It's awesome.
Well, guys, I can't thank you for coming on the Outstanding Life podcast, hanging out with me, telling your story, and telling the story to the world. Because, I mean, when people think of Alaska, they think of a couple things. They don't think of these little villages that make Alaska what it is today.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for opening up your house. Thank you for us being NASCAR fans.
Absolutely.
And us meeting, in Phoenix, Arizona 4 or 5 years ago, and staying in touch this whole time and bringing me out here. And I just can't thank you guys enough, man. So congratulations on retiring here in 25 days.
Thank you.
And Nicole, you got 1 year, but I have a feeling you might be able to be talked into a couple more. Maybe not. I don't know. But if not, then enjoy Montana, and I'll just come see you in Montana. It'd be a whole lot easier for me to get to Montana than it would be Alaska. Well, everybody, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy, telling you, be safe, have fun, and have yourself an outstanding day. As Marty would say, suck it up, Buttercup. Hey, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. Are you planning a conference, convention, meeting, assembly, or any live event that needs a guest speaker? I would love to be a part of it. For more information, visit motivationalcowboy.com. And don't forget to check out my Outstanding Life podcast every Sunday here on Dirt Road Radio, KYDT 103.1 FM and KBFS 1450 AM. Have an outstanding day.
Thanks for listening to the Outstanding Life podcast. Follow Johnny D on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Motivational Cowboy. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, advertise, or would like to make a donation, please visit motivationalcowboy.com. And remember to have an outstanding day.